Hey guys, it's Rick, AddThis Tooling. Not gonna take 2 minutes. Probably gonna be longer than that. We're just gonna, Gabe and I are gonna do a little bit of discussion here. So this morning I'm going through my closet looking for shirts. And I particularly like this one. It's a broadcloth shirt. But one thing about it that brings back memories is this logo, our invertible logo. And it makes me kind of go back in time to the beginnings. And I kind of like wearing it because it reminds me that there was a beginning. You know, when you gain some level of success, or you know, people know you or your products or something, it's like sometimes we forget where we came from. So I just wanted to have, I gave Gabriel free gratis, whatever, the opportunity to ask me any questions he wanted. But I just wanted to show you something before we get into that discussion.
Sure. So
here's where our this is our first fastener. And as you can see, it's a little tiny thing. It doesn't actually work the same way as the fasteners now. So one of the things that happened over time was that we started recognizing, hey, there's a problem with that. There's something that has to be corrected. And so we kind of went through this sort of process of improving these products. This particular product worked pretty good, and we still had people like today that would probably buy this. But what would happen is this little ring in the top would wear out pretty fast. That's the thing that made it unique, because the ring drives the stud up. But we had to correct that. But before we corrected it, we created a bigger one that had a bigger stick out in it. And so this particular fastener right here was super popular for a long time. And then we improved that by getting rid of that little drive ring in the top. Now we had it in the bottom, that it held it in the bottom, no longer holding it in the top. Finally, you get to the one that we're currently using. Again, you can see it has a different bottom on it. It's pressed together. This one, we had the clip in here that held it all together. And then finally, I shouldn't say finally, because we're still trying to improve our products and make them the very best for everybody's sake. But this one, of course, is the newest one. You can see the back's a little bit different, and it has the seal in the top. So anyway, I just thought there's that progression of how these fasteners sort of went. And they are specifically invertible. They're the invertible product. So over time we changed and we started broadening our market, and that's when we changed our name to AddThis Tooling. And so I'll leave it right there. Gabriel, I'm gonna buck up. I'm ready for you, buddy. I'm ready. What do you got for me?
Well, my first question is, what was it like?
By the way, who is this? I forgot to say who this is. This is one of my boys. This is my youngest of 5 boys. And I actually got another one behind the camera. So I got boys all over the place. Anyway, all right, Gabriel, lay it on me.
So first of all, what was AddThis Tooling like at the beginning?
Well, at the beginning, at the very beginning, when we're talking about back in 1990, we weren't AddThis Tooling.
Right.
We were Nissy Industrial Technologies. And our company at that time, when we created the company to start with, me and my 2 brothers started a programming company, actually. We produced NC programs, and we thought we were pretty good at it. But it was a struggle for us. We were chronically in debt. And even though we grew our revenues and our expertise, eventually we were like, man, we got to find something else. And that's where product making came into our history. You might be surprised. You probably would be surprised to know that we had another product before these fasteners. Did you know that?
No, actually.
There you go. Well, we did. We had a piece of software that we made. And interestingly enough, it cost us hundreds of thousands of dollars to develop.
Wow.
Guess how many licenses we sold?
Handful?
One.
Oof.
So
Driving.
our first product attempt did not go well,
No, not at all.
but thankfully we're still here. We survived all of those things.
Yeah. So we transitioned from a software-based company to a product-based company. So who was at that time your main customer?
So when we concepted this thing, it wasn't a completely new idea. But what we had done is improved it significantly and made it a product that you could buy off the shelf and screwed in from the front of the plate. And so my dad, your grandfather, would do sales for us. And some people out there in the Wichita area remember Roger Miller coming by their shops and talking with them. Well, one of the first people he went to go see was Raytheon. What's now, it's not Raytheon anymore, and it's Beechcraft, or I don't even know. It's been bought and sold so many times now. I think it's Textron now.
Okay.
But he took this over to them, and they were like, "Oh, we were thinking of doing that." And then, so we were like, "Well, we already did it, so." How about buying some?
Yeah.
And so the old Raytheon Beechcraft, that customer became one of our best initial customers. And then we also, as a programming company, we supported a company in Wellington, Kansas.
Okay.
Precision Machine in Wellington, Bill Meredith and his group, and of course it's been bought and sold, and it actually went bankrupt at one point, but it's still there now as I believe GKN.
Okay.
And so, but they were, thankfully, and between those two companies, they were readily adopters of this new technology. And honestly, with Precision, they just knew us well enough. They were like, "Oh, I guess we'll try it out," that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it was enough. It was enough, and I would say too, to you guys that were there at that time, we appreciate your feedback, because the feedback that we get from our product introductions is so important and so valuable. I think nowadays people are reluctant to provide honest, critical feedback, but I'm not going to say we enjoy it, but when we get it, things change. We want to have the very best products you can buy, and so we do whatever we can to make that happen.
Right, absolutely. So starting a company, especially from scratch, is a really big deal, and we've touched on a little bit what it was like, but what was the reasoning behind you starting Elijah Tooling? What was the why?
I like that question, because at the time, the why was probably not very well developed. It's probably a lot like a lot of people who start a business, they go, "Oh man, I could make a lot of money if I was in business for myself."
Yeah.
And and I would say that that's possible if indeed you can survive the 10 years that it takes you to get to a point that people want to do business with you and accept whatever it is you're making or selling. So that was the why at the time, and I would encourage anybody that's getting into business to have a bigger why than that. If it's just about, I really want to take $50 more home per week, that may not be a great reason to put yourself through all this.
Right.
So the why for this, for the fastener, was that as an NC programming company, we spent a great deal of time. It was outsourced programming, so we spent a great deal of time telling the people that we sold the program to what to do with it. And part of that back in those days was changing clamps. Every time you changed a clamp, you had to have a piece of paper that showed the clamp changing. And so there were pages and pages of instructions as to what had to happen to get through the process. And by using the fastener, we eliminated the clamps. And
Really?
so that was like, oh, what a relief. Woo, that makes life easy.
Simple.
And so that's something we brought into the future. That's still something that our products do. And that's a pretty good why.
Absolutely.
Over time, of course, our why has gotten bigger. We've got into modular fixturing, and that saves so much time, so much, bottom line, money. It's a great why, and we're really happy to be at this, fill that niche in this market.
Right. Well, so beyond the why, which is unbelievably important when you're starting a company.
No, I'll just clarify. It's really important all the way through.
Okay.
We call that vision.
Right.
And so if you don't have vision, you got to have vision for your employees. You got to have vision for your customers. You got to have vision for yourself. Where are you going?
For sure.
Why are you there? What are you doing?
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
this is a really big deal. And I think people don't realize how big a deal the why or the vision statement, or so often nowadays it's like, well, everybody's got to have a mission and a vision.
Yeah.
And we don't realize that it really, what drives us is going to in large part determine our success.
Right. So you had that drive, that reasoning at the beginning, which probably wasn't the greatest, but it's shifted over time.
Yeah.
But for people out there that are starting their own company,
Yeah.
it's an incredibly big deal, incredibly stressful. You run into all kinds of problems, and I know that you did. But
Who, me?
Right, problems is kind of the trademark of a fresh company.
Yeah.
So in that stressful
No.
time,
Not a fresh company. All continuous.
Right.
The problems just get bigger.
exactly. But it's critical at the beginning, right?
Yes, absolutely.
It's do or die. So
Yeah.
in the beginning, and even now, what keeps you from burning out? Because I know for a lot of people going into that's a big deal. You want to give up. You want to just emotionally, physically, financially let go of that company. So,
Yeah. That's a great question. And there's so many factors that play into that.
yeah.
But there's a scriptural biblical tenet, which is you do things with somebody else.
Okay. Never do it alone.
It's like three strands can't be broken, something
Right.
like that. So, of course, starting the business with my brothers helped. We had emotional support. But having a good wife, the support system around you is really important. You can't fight the battle on all fronts. So if you've got a lot of personal problems,
Yeah.
you're probably gonna have a hard time fighting that battle in the company.
Right.
So you got to pick your battles. Of course, just physically trying to stay as fit as you can, trying to have
Yeah.
some balance.
For sure.
This is so important.
It's hard to be sick and run a company.
Well, exactly, and thank you for bringing that up. Our physical well-being is really the core of being able to continue day after day after day after day. So if you're not getting
Right.
enough sleep, you're not eating right, you're not exercising, you're not using your mind, not necessarily in the area of the company, but in other ways, just allowing it to rest in other ways. This plays such a big role
Yeah.
in keeping your sanity.
Right.
And I think that's what you're really talking about. How did you
Right.
stay sane? Why didn't you just? Because that's what the idea of quitting is actually kind of a spiraling down. Nobody. It's like getting married. Nobody gets married thinking, "Oh, this is going to be horrible." Well,
Right.
why would you get married?
Yeah.
Well, same thing with a company, and also hiring employees, and so many things in life. It's like we go in with those rose-colored glasses.
Mm-hmm.
Then what do we do?
Right.
You know, because eventually reality hits.
It's got to be
So
more than a dream.
You've got to be doing the things, have habits, daily habits that will help you, and then of course have those people around you. Another thing I wanted to mention, we brought in a board of advisors. We had some people, they were just friends, but they were friends in business that understood business.
Right, so every step of the way you had somebody to help prop you up. You didn't do it alone. You didn't try to take the full weight of the company by yourself.
Did not do it alone, and I would encourage anybody that's in this battle, fight, whatever you want to call it, you got to have people around you, and honestly it would help a lot if you had some business owners. If you had somebody that's been there before,
Right.
walked with you, or can walk with you, really valuable.
Absolutely, for sure.
So one other thing I will say is, and it's an internal thing, and that is you have to come to the place where you simply will not quit. It does not matter what's happening. You've decided that you're going to go down in flames. I'm serious. You're going to continue pushing ahead regardless of what happens. And that particular spirit is required. It's called perseverance, right?
Right.
And so without that, so many companies, they can't make it. They don't make it. But a lot of times, if they'd have just hung in there long enough,
Right.
they'd still be here today.
Yeah,
And that's our
stages.
testimony too. We went through some really low times, but we never quit. And by the way, I had people, I went to people and said, "I'm going to quit."
Yeah.
And they were like, "Oh, no, you're not. You stay in there. You have put in so much time and effort to
It's
this.
people.
You do not quit."
Yeah.
So sometimes you need somebody just to kind of go, "Hey, what are you thinking?"
Yeah. So those people that surrounded you were crucial, and not that mentality of never giving up, never letting go.
Absolutely.
That's good. So we've touched a little bit on how Elijah Tooling started and some of the past products, some of the past shirts, some of the past mentalities. But where do you think it's going in the future? What is the vision ahead?
Well, we want to be, so we've kind of found our niche in the world, we feel like.
Right.
And our competitors, the people that are out there selling work holding and this kind of stuff, they're great. I mean, there's some really great products out there. No doubt about it. But we feel like our niche is in the flat plate arena where the stuff is in the plate.
Gotcha.
Right. Nobody else really focuses on that, and I'm grateful. That's us. that's our little place in the world. And of course, the stuff that's in the plate then comes up out of the plate, like to hold our vices and things like that.
Right.
So we feel like that's our future. We're going to continue hitting that flat plate kind of market where you need no obstructions to your machining.
That's a big deal.
You can benefit from not having all that stuff sticking up out of your plate.
Right. Yeah. Well, thank you for letting me pick your brain a little bit today.
Have you thought
Appreciate
about
it.
counseling for a living?
I don't think I'm old enough for that.
Or a podcast, maybe?
Oh, maybe. We'll see about that.
Well, guys, thank you for spending time with me and Gabriel today. I will mention to you that the Invertibolt website is going to be going through some changes. We're going to be focusing it specifically on the fastening products. And then the Elijah Tooling website will be for the broader thing. So that's coming. It's in the future too.
It's exciting.
Yeah, it is. We just want to have these websites kind of truly reflect what they're about.
Right.
Guys, we appreciate you. I know you hung in. If you're still with me right now, you hung in there. So thank you so much.
Congratulations.
We appreciate you so much. See you later.